Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another video, another day. Well, we're going to be breaking down the futures contract once again. Left you guys off on Wednesday with the premises that we'd most likely continue to push down lower at. Just putting the daily to one-time framing down, and we've been one-time framing down now 2 days in a row. And basically, it came all the way down into that lower balance I was discussing on that day. And then we have tested the 200-day moving average finally, which was my ultimate destination. I actually had a short swing position on back from this day when we had the afternoon. Actually, no, it wasn't this day. Yeah, it was this day, not the afternoon rally high. But in B period that day, I decided to get short around 43.90. And then added on the afternoon rally high at 43.78. And I've held that all the way down into I covered some position earlier this morning. And then I covered the rest of that position on the push down and the test of the 200-day moving average for roughly 100-point gain there. So really good swing trade position there. Other than that, I only took one intraday trade, which was the push up early on in the morning. Took one trade when it pushed up against the single prints that we had at the time, and it came in good, and I got out of the position. I had a three lot ES position on. I was trading a little bit larger, but overall ended up well. Yesterday's position, I got chopped up in all the Powell BS that was going on, and yeah, so let's just, enough about the trading. We'll go ahead and get into it. We'll look at the daily chart, the weekly chart, and the monthly chart here in just a second. Just real quick, I want to go over what we did on the 30-minute chart and then kind of mark these destinations for you guys, as I have no more downside destinations to give you guys, as we're now setting new lows for this contract, and I do not have any new lows for that. So yesterday, all right, we'll discuss yesterday's price action. So yesterday was a little bit choppy during the Powell speech, and then we ended up driving lower, creating a very small set of single prints, and then we had even probed lower, but I didn't count it as a probe. However, today we opened up in the lower distribution because it was a double distribution yesterday, kind of like similar to the previous day, where we had like a one tick set of single prints that got filled on that day, but we had opened up in the lower distribution that day. So today we opened up in the lower distribution, pushed up, tried to get the overnight high, could not get the overnight high. We front ran the overnight high like I've never seen someone front run a overnight position before, and we came in rather good. We took out the previous low day, and then we began to get into that set of single prints on the way down, right? We had these large sets of single prints from this massive trend day up from the 19th, or excuse me, from the 6th, not the 19th. From the 6th, we had this large trend day up, and we basically came back through and filled each one of these sets of single prints. So as we took out that low day, we filled the set of single prints. We almost had a lowest accepted price in B period. When we opened up, we drove straight down, began one-time framing down right away. But we kind of, after we had filled or got into the set of single prints, we bounced up, couldn't get back above the open, could not find acceptance back into the lower distribution. And then that's when it all kind of went downhill for the buyers and anybody that was cherry picking at the bottom, right? We began to start filling that set of single prints, and then the next destination after filling the set of single prints was that low of day and the series of lows of days here. We had, I believe, two lows of day that were right next to each other, 51.50 and 51.25. And then we had the 200-day moving average sitting around the 42.57 level. So that was kind of the target on the downside. Now, initially, we had a very large set of single prints here. I'm about to highlight exactly where that was. Initially, we had a large set of single print in B period. Then C opened up, took out the initial balance low. We continued a 1 time frame down. We had another very small set of single prints that was here from 68.75 in C to 68.50. We continued a 1 time frame down, but the trend began to slow as we couldn't get much more distance below each time frame after we set a new low. And that was kind of telltale that maybe the trend was starting to slow, and we had tested the 200-day moving average at the time right around this 57 level. We got a nice little relief bounce, pushed up, filled that first set of single prints here that was only like a tick of single prints, filled that, and then we began to push up. Now where I began to get short was against this set of single prints here, and at the time the 144 simple moving average was right there where I just highlighted. So I got short 70s, basically 71 and 68. I think my average price was around 70, 50, I think is what it was. And as it came in, I got out. It came in rather, pretty quick actually. I looked down at my phone and looked back up, and I was in the money pretty good. And I got out of that position around 64. So on a 3 lot, made really good money for a 3 lot. And then after that pullback, we kind of just grinded back up as short covering kind of came into the market. We grinded back up and then started to eat away at this set of single prints, as you can see here. And then we ended up only holding a very small portion of the single prints. And then we just sold back off into these lows. We even have a price probe today from 53.75 into the low of day here in M period as we've now closed out the day. So very eventful for the sellers, right? This is what you want to see if you're a seller. You want to see continuous 1 time framing down on the daily, having double distribution days with single prints, and just overall having confirmation as a seller that this market can continue to go lower. Now today is not the end all be all. One day does not make a market. We have closed below the 200-day moving average, but that does not make or break the market just yet. We have to have, we got to see if we find acceptance of price at these lows here. So let's go ahead and mark the day's destinations. We have today's high of day here at 43.02. 43.02 is today's high of day. We have the lower portion of the upper distribution here at 87.25, which is where the single prints will fill. 87.25, where the single prints will fill. Prints fill here. So what do sellers want to see when we open up Monday? We want to see if we open up in the lower distribution or below the price probe that we set here at 53.75. If we open up in the lower distribution and cannot push higher, this market has a good chance of continuing to push lower and finding acceptance of price below the 200-day moving average. Now, if there were swing traders like myself out there, this is where single prints start, excuse me. If there are swing traders out there, like I took that swing on back on, what was that, Tuesday, I think. Then they've either covered all their position or part of their position as we pushed into that 200-day moving average. All right, so here's the upper portion of the lower distribution, 84.75. I don't know why that's 74.75, and then we have the lower portion, or where our price probe, aka low portion of the distribution is. Let's see here. Because we spiked lower here, this is going to be our price probe. This is going to be our low of day. So the lower distributions range is 47.25 to 42, or yeah, 42, 47, 55, or 25 to 42, 84, 75. Sorry, my brain just ain't braining right now. I don't know what's going on. 75. And then after this, we will look at the monthly, the weekly, and the daily to recap, because I do believe we close, like I said, on Wednesday, the potential for an outside week down, and that was pretty good at the time. So this is first probe. And then we have our low day here, 47.25. So what do buyers want to do? Buyers want to open up either above the price probe in the middle or the lower distribution, and then take back the set of single prints and work their way back up into the upper distribution, and take back the single prints back from yesterday's price of 13.25 of 43.15. So, and then work their way back into that upper distribution, stopping the one-time framing down. So buyers want to take back today's range and get above today's high of day at 43.0225. That will stop the one-time framing down. Sellers want to open up below the upper distribution or in the lower, and they continue to push lower. Better acceptance would be below 42.5375, where we spiked from, and continue to push lower, setting lower lows for this contract. Okay, so that is all we have for our destinations. Let's go ahead and look at our larger time frames here. We'll go ahead and look at the monthly, break it down. As the monthly, guess what? Continues to one time frame down. All right. Continues to one time frame down. Nothing has changed on the monthly. We continue to push lower. We're kind of getting it near that go, no go zone for me on the short side as well, as this is where we kind of attempted to have change take place from June's low, 41.78. If we get anywhere near June's low and we get below that, we have taken back 4 months worth of upward price action. All right. And then we begin to target the next low at around 40.62. So we do not want to see that as buyers, right? And if the market wants to be strong in the longer term, we need to see a hold here and a rotation back up, maybe putting ourselves back into a balance on the monthly at some point in time. However, right now it does not look so good for the buyers, as we continue to one time frame down 2 months in a row, continuing to one time frame down, targeting June's low of 41.78, which is right around where we broke out of last time. Now let's look at our weekly. Weekly, we close with an outside week down, and I'm going to call the weekly down for this. Okay, we close with an outside week down, and we got below our balance low. I was telling you guys earlier on Wednesday that I did not like how we pushed up to the tick the previous balance low of 44.2325. I mean, we got it to the tick, was the high of day and the weekly high there. And then we came over, rolled over. We have an outside week down. I said we were going to target this balance low and the 200-day moving average. And boy, oh boy, did we do it. We got right to it and just below it. So, I can see it. A lot of times I might not be able to trade it the best, but I can see it. I damn sure can see it. I'll tell you that. So if you guys did not get out of your longs or begin a short position on that, I even put my money where my mouth was on that as we came in. I was like, you know what? Let's take it. I like the rejection up here. Let's see if we get down to that balance low and test the 200-day moving average. So like I said, I put that swing position on and came out with roughly over 100 points on that short. So great job there. Liked how I was able to read that. Hopefully I can continue to read charts like this in the big picture. Now keep an eye on this, right? Weekly so far. After this high, we've done nothing Hello? But set lower highs and lower lows. Is this the trend now? Are we going to continue to set lower highs and lower lows until we get into this, back into this range here where we had this little bit of consolidation where we broke out of, right? We're going back test the 4,400 level at some point. If this market can't find legs back above the 200-day moving average, it's very possible. Very, very possible. But like I said, one day does not make a market. But the weekly, we're going to say, is one time framing down. So next week, we look to take out this week's low of 42.45. Okay. So we look to take out this week's low of 42.45. Let's go ahead and look at the daily. Daily clearly broke out of that balance on the downside, came back into this balance here, and then it got accepted within it, and then continued to push lower. We actually filled this gap here. If I bring up the gaps, we filled a gap on the downside. Actually, no, we did not fill the gap. Holy cow. We missed filling the gap. 42.39.75 is where this gap fills here. So we got into this one, could not fill it, came down rather aggressively. Volume was pretty good today, above average, in the top, I believe. So we came back into that previous balance area from 43.17, found acceptance, and we got into the gap down here where it started at 42.49.25, and it fills at 42.39.75. So we look to fill that gap come next week. But the daily is one time framing down 1, 2, 3 days in a row now with really good extension below the 20. Rejected that 50. Really good extension below the 20. Back below the 200. So maybe do we get back above the 200-day moving average and play between the 200-day moving average and the 20 at some point in time? You know, it's a good possibility. That's what buyers want to do, right? Buyers want to get back above today's high to stop that one time framing down, and then that would put us initially into a balance within that range. Sellers want to continue to one time frame down and target filling that gap at 39.75 that we talked about, and then getting down to that low 41.78. So look at that. That is that day's low, 41.78. So if we get ourselves back into that daily range right there, we will be targeting 41.78, June's low. So we are not too far off that, and it is not impossible to get next week if we can start to get some acceleration to the downside below this 200-day moving average. So keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. Have your hard hats on. Thanks for stopping by. If you guys made it to the end of this video, please leave a like down below. Comment something. You know, I do this for my enjoyment. Helps me review the charts. You know, does my homework, and you know, I definitely benefit from it. So hopefully you do too. We'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.